Every day at Sierra, you'll find top brand apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. And during clearance time at Sierra, those incredible prices are 40 divided by 2.5, carry the 1, even lower. And when you shop clearance at Sierra, you can save a whole lot more on everything you need to get active and outside. That's a lot of saving. Epic brands, vast selection, teeny tiny prices. That's Sierra. Visit your local Sierra store today or shop online at Sierra.com.
New CBS Sunday.
The Grammys, baby!
History will be made.
Live, unfiltered, unexpected.
Woo!
Bigger than ever.
I was a ghost.
Bigger stars, bigger performances. Music's biggest night is getting bigger.
Now you see what all the hype is about.
Trevor Noah hosts the Grammy Awards live.
Anything is possible.
CBS Sunday and streaming on Paramount Plus.
It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, and I'm Dr. Neal, your host of the show. Welcome back to another Friday show where I answer your questions. On all the other days, I read health and fitness blogs to you kind of like an audiobook, with permission from the authors. Now, I'll let you know how you can send in your own question at the end of the show, plus get rewarded for sending in your question. But for now, let's jump right in and hear today's question and start optimizing your life. Today's question came via email. William writes, I'm approaching my 65th birthday, and I work with seniors. They are constantly requesting tea and coffee as their beverage of choice. We do have issues with seniors experiencing dehydration, especially in the summer. I know that tea and coffee affect hydration. My question is, how great is caffeine's effect on hydration, and is it so important that I should avoid the consumption of these drinks myself and avoid serving them to our seniors? Thank you for taking the time to send in your question, William. Coffee and tea intake actually count towards someone's overall fluid intake for the day, and coffee and tea don't seem to increase the risk of dehydration. According to the National Academy of Medicine, all sources of fluids, caffeinated or not, count toward our total fluid intake. The National Academy of Medicine goes on to recommend that most healthy older adults drink 13 cups of fluid per day for males and 9 cups of fluid per day for females. And 1 cup is equivalent to, of course, 8 fluid ounces. Now, these are general guidelines. That means if someone is, say, more active, or when the weather is hot, or when it's cold, or if someone has a pre-existing health condition like kidney disease, of course, these recommendations will change. Now, let's be honest. Drinking plain water is the best way to stay hydrated. But historically, coffee and tea have been given a bad rap, really when it comes to hydration and most other things. There are myths swirling that both coffee and tea act as diuretics, or as you mentioned, William, dehydrating. What this means is when supposedly we drink coffee or tea, they actually cause the body to lose more water. So it would go something like this. Here's an extreme example. Someone drinks a cup of coffee or tea, and then the body, within a relatively short period of time, would then basically eliminate the fluid we just drank via urine. Again, this was the belief and a very extreme example, but we're learning that this is simply not the case. Coffee and tea do mildly trigger a diuretic effect, but not to this extreme. In fact, the body still absorbs and uses the majority of liquid found in coffee and tea. There have been quite a few meta-analyses published looking at this very thing. Remember, a meta-analysis is a study of already published studies. Meta-analyses, when performed properly, are thought to be one of the most accurate sources of information. Now, most of these meta-analyses have found that consuming tea and coffee does not lead to dehydration. Instead, they found a very interesting effect. The more often coffee and tea are consumed, the less likely someone will experience dehydration. And they believe this is because the body develops a tolerance to caffeine. Not only that, but there are some potential health benefits to consuming coffee and tea regularly. Researchers have found that consuming 2 to 5 cups of coffee, black or green tea, most days of the week can reduce a person's risk for developing type 2 diabetes, heart disease, colon cancer, liver cancer, and even Parkinson's disease. Now, I should mention that these studies usually looked at those that drink their coffee and tea without any added milk, cream, or sugar. Now, while all of this sounds amazing, is it possible to get too much caffeine? Most health organizations recommend that healthy adults consume no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine each day. If we're talking about tea, 400 milligrams would be like drinking about 7 cups. So that's quite a bit. Because coffee is naturally higher in caffeine, drinking about 2.5 cups of your store-bought drip coffee would get you close to 400 milligrams. Now, for those with underlying conditions like high blood pressure, irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, heartburn, also known as gastroesophageal reflux, those with stomach ulcers, Crohn's disease, or ulcerative colitis, they would want to check with their doctors about how much is too much caffeine each day, because caffeine can aggravate some of those conditions. But let's go back to dehydration among older adults. This is a real concern, but again, drinking water, of course, would be the ideal fluid, but coffee and tea do count toward our fluid intake for the day. And so for most older adults, we don't have to worry too much about their consumption of tea or coffee. Right now, there's a talented person out there who could take your company to the next level. Do you want to hope they see your job post before your competitors? Or do you want to match with them with Indeed sponsored jobs? Sponsored jobs boost your post for quality candidates so you can reach the exact people you want faster. I love that Indeed speeds up hiring. When I've hired in the past, the process was overwhelming. I wish I'd used Indeed. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results now with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. Sometimes I just don't have the time or brain space for proper grocery shopping. With a long commute, shopping for groceries is the last thing I want to do. That all changed with Hungry Root. It's the easiest way to get healthy. Just tell them what you like, don't like, and your goals, and Hungry Root fills your cart with personalized recommendations. It's the perfect way to actually stick with your New Year's resolution of starting fresh with healthy eating. For my Hungry Root order, I was able to get the veggies and proteins I specifically wanted for my weekly meal prep, plus a couple sides and pre-made meals for convenience, all fresh and delivered quickly. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/OHD and use code OHD. That's hungryroot.com/OHD, code OHD, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. Thank you again for taking the time to send in your question, William. Now, if you want to send your questions in, if you're in the US, we'll physically mail you a copy of our 216-page hardcover workbook, totally free as long as we have some left. Now, if you're outside of the US, we're happy to provide an electronic version. You can email your question to health@oldpodcast.com. That's health@oldpodcast.com. Or if you want your voice played on the show, come by oldpodcast.com/ask. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call in your question. The number is 1-61-I-LOVE-OHD. That's 1-614-568-3643. All right, that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for listening every day and all the way through. And of course, I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.